Well, I'm so sorry about that interruption. I'm not quite sure what was going on with that, but my name is Destiny Porter, and I also go by the Empress D. I am going live today on behalf of the Purposely Awakened magazine. Again, like I said, I'm just so excited today because we will be joined with Anthony Jackson. He has a nonprofit organization called We Can Now, and he works with youth. So I'm really excited to talk to him because I work with youth as well. So a lot of times when we work with youth, it's just a mutual understanding. It's just like parents, they come down to kids. It's just a level of understanding that some people just don't know. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna wait for him to get on live. But in the meantime, we're just gonna relax. I hope everybody is having a beautiful day today. Can our viewers please tell me where you guys are from and how you're doing today? And also, if you guys have or know of any Black businesses that are in your area, please drop those comments below. I would love to see it. Let me see if I can actually request Anthony right now. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. The artwork is done by this guy that I know. His name is Malik, and he goes by Leak Phil. So if you want to look that up on Instagram, that would be great. I'm sure that he has some more art pieces coming out pretty soon. Let's see if I can request him. And I'm just going to request Anthony Jackson so that we can get this thing started. Let's see. I think we might be having some difficulties, guys. Let me see. There we go. Okay, so I just sent him a request so we can get started so you guys can listen to this interview. Please stay tuned. I think it's going to be a wonderful one, especially with the understanding that we have with working with kids. There we go. There he is. So let's connect with him. Let's get this started. Hello, Anthony. How are you?
I'm blessed. How you doing, sister?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you so much. My name is Destiny Porter. I go by the Empress D, and I'm doing this live on behalf of the Purposely Awakened magazine. I'm so excited to be able to talk to you because I was just telling the viewers that we have so much in common with working with youth. I feel like when people work with youth, it's just a mutual understanding because youth are interesting. But yeah, can you please tell us who you are and what it is that you do?
Yeah, who I am, first and foremost, I'm a child of God, but I was born into this world by my dear mother, Michelle Denise Jackson. She's also my hero as well. And Cornelius Walker, who's my father. Um, my father really didn't have any intentions on being in my life, although he was a really wealthy man. My mother was 16 when she had me. So that pretty much led us into a life of poverty, living in projects, being homeless, foster care, all of that. My mother was diligent in her work and loving her kids, so she turned her life around. And by the grace of God, we made it through poverty, right? I'm the oldest of four. I have a brother, Tony, another brother, Dominique, and my youngest sister, Special. And I went to college. I lived my dreams, played basketball. I played professional basketball. And now in my city of Austin, I am the president and founder of We Can Now. And what we do is we service the homeless every weekend. We mentor the youth. We assist families living below the poverty line. And we also assist felons in getting opportunities and jobs for themselves. So that's from the beginning to the current.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Man, that's a beautiful story.
Mm-hmm.
So, what inspired you to start your organization and what made you really want to work with youth?
Well, what inspired me was my own life. So everything that we in our organization that we help with, I've actually lived. So I grew up single parent home, living under the poverty line. All of the males around me, as far as my uncles and my friends, were all felons. So I got to see how hard it was for good men who have talents to feed their families and to just live a simple, normal life. And that's not fair. Um, like I said, we were homeless a number of years in our lives, and um, being that I was a youth growing up in that environment and under those circumstances, I realized how important it was for males to be around, fathers to be
Yeah,
around, uncles to be around, to lead us, and that's what
mhm,
got me to this point.
absolutely. Wow, that's beautiful. So, what inspired the name for your organization?
Really, God gave it to me because it was just like we can now. I wanted to make a statement. Like a lot of times, people will tell you, like, "Yeah, I can do something," but they'll tell you to hold on. Or when you need some assistance in this world right now, it's like, "Oh, fill this application out. Wait 2 weeks. Wait a whole month. We'll get back to you." Meanwhile, hold on. You know what I mean? And growing up in poverty, using government assistance, we're naturally taught to depend on someone else to have our necessities. So wait
Yeah.
again, and when I come and give you this, then you can live and you can do whatever it is you need to do. So we, as in all of us in this world, can do whatever we need to do and want to do, and we can do it right now. We ain't waiting on nothing. And there you have
Mhm.
it.
I definitely agree. And one thing, especially with working with youth, I know that a lot of times, like you said, people put certain things off. And, just having a certain level of spirituality, I also understand that a lot of time when God gives you a vision, there's a sense of urgency there. And
Absolutely.
so with that name, that is beautiful that you really put that in your organization and, you wanted that to be heard. Do you find yourself bridging the gap with children who come from single family homes when you work with them?
Absolutely. We're absolutely bridging the gap because we're showing up and we're providing a service where they're lacking. So you might have
Mhm.
a single parent family or household, and the mother has a job, and she's doing all that she can to provide, right? So she pays her rent, she's putting groceries in the house, and by the time that it's time to pay the car payment, she might only have X amount left just because living below the poverty line to begin with, they're only giving so much money to begin with, for your hard work and labor, and it's just not
Yeah.
enough. So when we come in, boom, we bridge that gap, and we're able
Mhm.
to either pay that bill or whatever the necessity is. So I do believe
Mhm.
that we're bridging the gaps.
That is awesome. And definitely when you're working with the youth and providing these services to different people, do you ever find yourself somewhat becoming a counselor or a therapist to these people who, I guess don't have much support emotionally?
I wouldn't consider myself a therapist or a counselor, but I do. Uh, we do resonate with each other, and we do talk, and we do figure things out because communication is important, just in general. Like you don't have to be a therapist to tell someone it's going to be okay, or hey, if you do this, this would be better off in this situation. You don't have to be a counselor or a therapist to do that. We're just people. We have a voice. Every single person has a voice, and we all have knowledge. And if we just open up our mouths and communicate with one another, it will be better for all of us.
Mhm. Absolutely. I definitely hear that. So what are some of the main issues you find yourself exploring during like the mentorship process?
Um, some of the main issues that I see is, for one, the lack of resources for the children, um, and the the motivation is not there. And those are the main two. So the motivation is not there for the child to thrive and become who they want to be because of what they're going through in everyday living circumstances. You see what I'm saying? And all children might show up to the same school, right? But their households are different. So you might have this household that um, has both parents, has all, they don't have to worry about missing a meal. They don't have to worry about a stench being in their clothes and them going to school and being laughed at, bullied, right? And then over here at this household, you do have those things because they're lacking of parents. They live in the ghetto, and they're just not happy with the living circumstances. So that right there dawns on the motivation to even allow those kids to dream and feel as free as they want to be. So the lack of motivation is one, and then just the lack of resources. You have a lot of great kids that do live in the ghetto or in the hood or in these communities, and they want to do great, and they have everything to be great, and they just don't have the resource. You see what I'm saying? So those are the two things that I see and I face every single day.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. So, what are some of the challenges that you experience maintaining all of these different roles in the community?
Some of the challenges I face, really, just other parents, other grown-ups, and other people in the community that don't try to attack these issues that affect all of us. That's
Mm-hmm.
really the biggest issue. I don't. A lot of times people look at one person and think, "Oh, they're gonna do it all." It's like, no, come on, man. It's a collective effort. And in my organization, it says we, not I. We can. If you get on the board and you get on board
Yes.
and you get on board, then we will be able to do all that we need to do ourselves in right now. Period. It's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that, like you said, a lot of times people kind of place these responsibilities on one person and they're not really seeing where they fit in and where they can, I guess, contribute their efforts in the community. And so, what advice would you give to those people? How can they get involved in their communities if they don't even know where to start?
Um. Well, you definitely have to be in the community so you know what's going on. And once you have the knowledge of knowing what's going on, just ask yourself a question: what is it that you want to do, or what is it that you want to see improve, right? And then once you got that, then you just get on board. There's volunteer work. There's all kind of things you could do. And we don't have to be millionaires to start this. We don't have to have extreme resources to start this because we are the resource and we are resourceful ourselves with this intelligent mind we have, this great body that we have to work with, and you know,
Yeah. No, I hear you. And so, speaking of starting, how did you start? Because you're at this great place where you can provide all these different services. And I'm sure that, maybe all of those opportunities weren't present in the beginning. So, how did you start?
just doing the work. So, like I said, this came to me from my experience in life, right? So when I got old enough to where I could make my own decisions, you just ask yourself, well, what is it do you want to do? I can go over here and party and club and do all this stuff that all my friends are doing, and that's fun too. And I've done that, but
Mm.
I mean, these issues over here are way more important than just doing this stuff over here. We really suffer in our lives behind this. I really felt pain and misery and all kind of emotions and things that happen. So this matters the most. And most of us live in these conditions. So we should really be focusing on these things instead of these things over here that don't really matter. So that's how I got started. My mother, when we lived in the projects, we used to get food stamps, right? I'm the oldest of four, so she had 5 mouths to feed, including herself. She would get a bunch of food stamps. She would make the meal. We would be fed and well taken care of, and we would have leftovers. And what she would do, me being the oldest, she would say, Anthony, take this plate across the street to that homeless man sitting over there. Anthony, take this over here to that guy who is doing a lot of drugs and is not even worried about eating. He's just, hey, take it over there to him. So that's where I got the vision from, and my mom instilled that in me. So then when I got older, I would just naturally do that. When I had extra money, I would go out. Hey, let me go give this to, and this is before, we can now or anything. This is just doing it in the community just because. And just from doing that years and years, people are coming to me, hey man, I love what you're doing, man. You should start this. You should do this. You know, you could do more if this happened. And you know, people started to pour into me, enlighten me, because we all need that. And then God pushed me and showed me the vision to where I'm at right now. That's how that happened.
Yes, that is awesome. And I'm so happy to hear that your mother really instilled in you, giving you a heart to give.
Oh yeah,
You know what I'm saying? You know, you have to have a giving heart. And I think that a lot of times we don't really teach our children that. You know, I think that sometimes maybe because of our conditions, we get so used to being selfish to a certain degree because we don't have much that when we do have extras, we just want to keep it to ourselves.
absolutely.
So, yeah, I think that it's very important that we really start teaching our children how to be able to give, especially with a lot of them having a sense of entitlement to a certain degree.
Hmm.
And so I definitely understand that. And so I also looked at your webpage and I noticed that, like you said, your organization helps people who are previously incarcerated find jobs and careers.
Hmm.
How important would you say that support is in the Black community?
That's super important, being that they have laws and Jim Crow and all of these tricks and things to slip us men up. You know, it's super important for us to build with our own hands for our own selves and stop waiting for someone else to do it. When we have the power to do it ourselves. You know, what organization you know that specifically says if you are a felon, you can come here. We're telling you, if you are a felon, come here, and we're going to help you get, you know, acclimated back into society, and we're going to help you live your dreams and just be just considered a regular living citizen, man. It's just crazy, man. That's nonsense. But you see, we don't have those type of resources, so it's on us to do it, and that's what we do. That's super important because, like I said, those felons be fathers. Those felons be brilliant men who can contribute and do whatever they want to. But just because they have a felon, it
Mhm.
handicaps. So it's super
Yes,
important.
yes, absolutely. I agree with that. I think it's so hard for them to transition without any support, you know. And then of course, you know, we've seen in different depictions of movies and things like that how they, you know, end up in the same circumstances again because nobody was willing to help them transition back into society like you're offering to do. And I personally have not heard of an organization that is actually doing that in the community, so I thank you for that service. That is
Mhm.
amazing what you're doing.
I'm just
um
grateful that God has allowed us to do it, you know, because it's that important.
mhm. Yes, absolutely. So how do you handle the weight of leadership? And do you feel like it's difficult to build leaders in this particular era?
How do I handle the pressure of leadership,
Yes.
you said? Um, Me personally, I handle it with a smile on my face and an open heart because growing up in poverty like I did as a child with my mother and my brothers and my sister, that is a lot of pressure that you don't want to deal with and that we should not be dealing with as children and as
Yeah.
just hardworking people. You know, it's a lot of pressure. So since I've been able to feel that pressure and overcome it, the pressure of doing something positive and good that's aligned with your purpose, that really doesn't have any weight on it, even though it could seem like it.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
I think it's super important for us to be teaching our youth how to be leaders because if we can't lead ourselves, then that means someone else is going to lead us, and we can't really trust that someone else to
Yes,
lead us somewhere. So just from that
yes,
aspect alone, it's important to instill in the youth and in our people to be leaders.
absolutely. And so with having a nonprofit, I also have a nonprofit and I can kind of understand that, you know, it's difficult sometimes getting funding and things like that. And it doesn't pay very much. You actually have to be very passionate about what you do. And
Absolutely.
so where is your reward in all this? What do you find to be the most rewarding to you?
Just fulfilling my purpose. You know, as a man, you know how they say your word is your bond, you know. So when God gives you your purpose and you say, this is who I am, this is what I'm going to do, and you actually do that, then that's fulfillment in itself. You know, just fulfilling the purpose because that purpose is a huge blessing for yourself and a whole lot of others. So it's never about just one person. You know what I mean? So when you're a leader and when God gives you certain powers and abilities to do things and you do those things accordingly and righteously, then it doesn't only bless that person, it blesses a magnitude of people. So just serving the purpose is the reward.
Absolutely. I hear you. I hear you. So what is the ultimate vision that you have for your organization?
The ultimate vision I have for my organization is for it to be up and running, first and foremost, and successful in our missions, and just a platform and a tool that can be used and utilized in life forever for those who may need it. That's the ultimate vision.
I feel that. I love that. And with you, I just thought that I would get some insight from a Black man. What would you say is your definition of success? Because I know that a lot of times it's easy for us to believe that success means having a lot of money.
Hmm.
And you know what I'm saying, being able to buy certain things and stuff like that. So what is your definition of success?
My definition of success is fulfilling your purpose. Right. So when we come to this life, just like you said, sister, money, they start telling us, hey, you ain't nothing if you ain't got money. And then
Mhm.
when you start believing that, then you start getting away from your purpose, which your purpose is going to say way more than money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we be sitting here chasing paper and chasing a dollar, thinking that that's successful, but we've depleted all of the richness inside of us, you know, for one single thing, which is money, and it's really false, and it's fabrication. So my definition of success is fulfilling your purpose, which comes from within, which is a gift that God gave you and or us, and it's uniquely uh, confined to you.
Yes.
So
Yes.
success is saying what you're going to do and doing it
Mhm.
and fulfilling your purpose.
Absolutely. I love it. So I wanted to ask as well, because I believe that I watched one of your videos where you went to a school and it was career day, and you were saying how I'm not sure if it was you get paid to help children with basketball and like mentoring them through that.
Hmm.
Um, but I was gonna ask, how did you find a way to monetize this whole thing? Because I know a lot of times when people have nonprofit organizations, a lot of times they do things for free and they're trying to find ways to gain a little bit of money or revenue from their services. So
Hmm.
how did you find the way to do that?
The way to get money,
Yes, to monetize the services that you're providing.
um, I don't think about that. As
Mhm.
crazy as it may seem, I don't really think about the money. I really just deal with the purpose, and the purpose itself is so rich that it provides everyone with everything that they need. You know, so
Yeah.
I don't, as a nonprofit, of course, you hear about all these things about, oh, you could do this to get money, you could do this to get money. And yes, it's good to hear that. And yes, it's tempting. And some things you're supposed to do because that's what benefits from a nonprofit. And me, when I really started off doing that, I started thinking so much about the money, and it's just like,
Mm.
that's not who I am. And that's not what we
Yeah.
stand on. I really need to see this purpose through. So from that point on, I just started dealing with the purpose, and God blesses us. Like I said, when you serve your purpose, you will have all that you need. You won't have to think about the money. It'll come, and when it comes, you know that it's righteous, and you know that that's what you're supposed to have. You know what I mean? And you're able to have your peace because you're serving your purpose, and you're not just thinking about money. And you know,
Mhm. I feel that. I feel like your blessings come especially when that's not something that you're looking to do it for. And I
absolutely.
know with having a nonprofit, I kind of experienced the same thing as what you're talking about. I had a lot of organizations saying, well, you should be charging for this, you need to make sure you're charging for that, and just trying to bring some type of money in. And I actually kind of felt guilty because I was like, I don't think that that's something that I want to do. But I was like, I don't know if this is what all organizations, nonprofit organizations, are doing.
Hmm.
But it kind of made me feel they, to a certain degree, made me feel bad for not thinking about this money aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I think that this is something that all, especially Black kids, should have access to. So why would I charge
Mm-hmm.
for, the service that I'm providing? So I kind of went through the same experience as well, where different organizations are trying to get you to monetize everything.
Mm-hmm.
So again, like I said, I appreciate your services and you not thinking about that aspect and doing it from the goodness of your heart. I think
Mm-hmm.
that that's very commendable. And so lastly, I just wanted to ask you, I know that we have a lot of civil unrest going on in the country right now. And so what wise words can you offer during this time, and especially for the Black community?
To keep your love intact and to not develop the hatred of others and the energy that's flowing within the universe. Don't be receptive to it. Keep your heart beating. Keep your love going. Keep smiling. Keep God first, because of course, I mean, in war, it's all about destruction. So hey, and in destruction, there is no God. You know, there's no God and
Yeah.
there's no good and there's no love. So I would say love. Keep loving. People are trying to take love away from life and God away from life right now.
Mhm. Yes,
Those
I
are the
hear
first
you.
two, you know. So keep those. Keep loving people. Don't become hateful. You
Mhm.
know. Keep God first.
Mhm.
You know, and laugh.
Yeah.
You know.
I hear you. I feel that. Absolutely. So, for our viewers, if you would like more depth on wellness, Black excellence, and wealth building, or if you would just like to chat with like minds, please go visit our Awaken Lounge by tapping the link in our bio. Again, thank you so much, Anthony, for allowing us this time to be able to interview you and hear about your amazing organization. We wish you the best of luck on all your future ventures, and I hope that you have a very blessed day.
Thank you very much, sister. You too.
Thank you so much.